So it's really quite a weekend, Sarah. I look at what we observe this weekend, we get to Monday, and then we've got to get on to Tuesday. What's going to be different tomorrow versus what we saw today?
Well, the big news is that the vote in Cyprus in the parliament has been delayed until Tuesday. Tonight, the European finance ministers are having an emergency conference call. And as we spoke earlier on Bloomberg Surveillance with Robert Albertson of Sandler O'Neill, the chief investment strategist, he said they're going to have to step back a bit from this plan that they put out, this shocker of a plan on Friday night, because investors, strategists, everyone you talk to say it's a mistake, and this whole taxing the depositor issue is harsh and it sets a dangerous precedent.
It's really fluid right now in the sense that we get the vote on to, you said Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Then Michael McKee, we get the banks closed. I think the last I saw was Thursday.
Yeah.
I would suggest to a third or even half the population of Cyprus, that's a huge burden.
So at this point, we're waiting to see what happens when the banks reopen. You can expect a bank run in Cyprus. Of course, people want to get their money back. It's really a question of, is there going to be a bank run in Spain? Is there going to be a bank run in Greece? Is there going to be a bank run in Italy? And so far, there's no sign of that. Half of the analysts out there say it's no big deal. Half of them say it's a crisis. And so far, the markets are coming down on the half that say no crisis. The question is what happens once there finally is a vote. If they turn it down, that's a whole new ballgame.
And Eric Nielsen at Unicredit told you and me this morning on radio this idea of where the poor are and where the middle class are. It's not that easy for them to move their money around. I mean, they're not doing a wire order to Berlin, are they?
No, but one of the things that the European Union has been trying to point out quietly is that, look, what happened in Ireland, what happened in Greece, what happened in Portugal when we had to impose austerity and demand conditions in return for our bailout money? Those people suffered a lot. A lot more people lost jobs. A lot more people lost a lot of savings. And so if you can get by with just losing 6% or 7% of your bank account, then maybe you're better off than if we'd done it the other way.
That's the one I go. Alix, please.
I was reading a report from SocGen who said that what this really does is put the nail in the coffin for conditionality. Like, that will always be something now that any kind of bailout with some sort of extreme measure has to deal with, and that's really the longer-term takeaway and repercussion of what happened in Cyprus.
What was interesting here, as you mentioned SocGen, is how all the research came out over the weekend, and there's this new, I hate to use this word, Mike, you know I hate it, the new paradigm of how sell-side research and academic research and op-eds fold into the debate. Sarah, I was fascinated, as I know you were this weekend, at the speed of the debate and the speed of different opinions.
Well, it's because the Europeans have worked so hard over the past few years, whether you commend them for their efforts or not when it comes to the bailouts of Greece and Ireland and some of the other nations, not to involve the depositors, even though these banks were under tremendous financial strain. So this was really one of a kind. It was unprecedented. So the rush was to find out what it means for other European nations if they have to go through this.
You more than me and Michael and Alix interview some of these EU officials. I was speaking with our editor-in-chief, Matthew Winkler of Bloomberg News today. What does this mean for the EU leaders who put out this blather, these headlines that say everything's fine, we're in control?
Sometimes
well, guess what? They're not.
Sometimes I wonder if the Eurozone suffers from using English as their main language, because some people don't necessarily have the same ability to communicate in the vernacular in English as they do in their own language. And I think if you talk to, if they had given people a chance to talk to them, to brief on the sidelines, etc., to outline their strategies, there might have been less of a rush to judgment as there was in the Twitter sphere and other places over the weekend that set us up for this big question that, you know, are we going to have some sort of global meltdown?
But the official line from the Europeans, and Olli Rehn, the top economic official, came out over the weekend and said Cyprus is unique. Cyprus is different. It's a small economy with an outsized banking system. The bank recapitalization needs are 80% of the overall economy. That is double than what Ireland needed.
But Alix, I know you want to jump in here, but I've heard a lot from Olli Rehn or 18 other people you've talked to more than me. Everything's fine. Well, guess what? Everything's not
that's why
fine.
they're having an emergency conference call right now.
Look at the markets. I mean, it's not like traders are going to rule the day, but look at the markets. I mean, S&P futures were down about 15 points.
I think Alix is saying enough of this political economic blather.
I think we can talk about that all day, but if you take a look at gold, just because I'm a gold nerd, and you have to look at gold as a fear gauge, right? It was only up max like $15. That's not a fear spike. The S&P may be trading around neutral. Again, it's sort of taking it in stride. So even if
was blue
there's
today's
some kind
color?
of color?
Was blue today's color?
I didn't get the
I'm
memo.
wearing the Greek flag.
I'm doing the St. Patrick's Day green.
I'm wearing the Greek flag. I think Michael raised an interesting point, and that is, what if this vote fails in Cyprus? Then what?
What's the likelihood of that,
You talk about the
Michael?
markets. What happens then?
There's a chance of that. It's a very narrow vote.
would
The
Cyprus
ruling
have
party
to
only
exit?
controls 20 votes, and their allies control 9, and they
Well,
need 26 or 27 votes to get it through. And so it's going to be very tight.